Hi everyone, this is Sam from Gamereactor, live from Slush Play in Iceland, and we are talking about Waltz of the Wizard with the CEO of Alden Dynamics. So, what is Waltz of the Wizard, first of all?
Well, Waltz of the Wizard is sort of an introductory experience to VR. What we do at Alden is we really think VR is about the ability to transport you physically to other worlds. So what that means is that you can use your own body, you can move around, and it feels convincing, it feels believable. So those are the elements that we wanted to draw forward in Waltz of the Wizard, to give you that freedom to interact with every item that's available, and everything that you see is interactive. And to have the world react to you as well, to further enhance that sense of presence, that you're really in another world where anything is possible. So that's what Waltz of the Wizard is. It gives you a taste of what it's like to have magical powers. So you can do things like control objects with almost a telekinesis-like power. You can throw fireballs. But you can also spend a lot of time on the details. So almost everything that you do reacts to you in some way. And that's sort of what we wanted to really focus on. And that's what Waltz of the Wizard is.
Where did a lot of the ideas come from? Because there's so much packed in there, the little subtle stuff that you talked about. Where did some of the ideas come from?
Well, we have a really, really creative core team, and we spend a lot of time just thinking about what would be interesting once you're in another world. What's interesting to do and what would be interesting to see. And we do a lot of user testing and doing tools for user testing to further understand what do people do when they go to a virtual world? How do they behave? And so we can identify places where people try to do something that we didn't foresee. And so we think, what can we do there? When the person does this, when he crouches at this point, or when she reaches for something, is there anything interesting that we can do to further amplify that behavior? And so focusing on this human behavior side for VR is really important. And yeah, that's what we're doing, tools to do better, to enable content creators to better understand how do people behave when they get transported to a virtual world where they can use their natural hands and move around. And yeah.
How did you approach the design of the game? Because obviously you wanted to make the magic of VR, so to speak. How did you approach sort of how the game looks and feels, especially with the different locations you could transport to?
Yeah. We always try to get a consistent, we think it's important that any VR product gives a sort of a wholesome feel to it, that there's a certain atmosphere that it communicates. The atmosphere is something that we try to remain consistent about the entire game. And in this case, it's the sort of mystery and about the discovery of new details, about feeling like there's always something a little bit more that you can discover if you just look hard enough. That's the atmosphere that we wanted to capture. And so in these little scenes that you travel to, you have this main scene that's highly interactive where you can do all these magics. But you also have these smaller scenes that are more like linear narratives, where you go through a certain experience and emotional journey, even though it's a short experience. It gives you a certain, places you in a scene that's interesting. There's something terrifying looming around the corner, and you get really excited about what's going to happen, and you get into these defensive postures, and you actually get a cinematic-like experience, like, wow, that was like being in a movie. So those kinds of things aren't possible with conventional mediums, but VR opens, and that's what makes VR really interesting and really revolutionary in terms of how you can make people feel when they're entertained or when they are experiencing something virtual.
The game itself is obviously a lot of fun. Was the development process as fun, or did it throw up any serious challenges?
There's always a bit of both. There are really serious challenges that a lot of the leading developers today are still tackling, still trying to understand, and that's going to be that way for the next few years. There's always going to be something more in terms of software or in terms of new hardware for speech recognition or whatever it is. So there are really tough challenges that are being solved today, and but at the same time, that's also what makes it so fun. These are challenges that nobody in the history of any medium before has had to face. So every day we come to work and we're working on something that nobody's even had, that we didn't know the day before was possible. So So that's what makes it really exciting to be in this industry today and be working on all of these new challenges and opportunities.
As well as Waltz of the Wizard, you also help other people with their VR technology and help other people use VR. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so we're working on a solution called Ghostline, and Alden, in terms of this industry, is pretty old. We started like just after Oculus finished its Kickstarter, before the Facebook acquisition and all that. So we've been working on all the major platforms. We've been identifying design challenges. Okay, what are going to be like the challenges over the next 10 years, over the next 5 years, 3 years, right now? And one of the main things there is that once people are inside that virtual world, that's something that nobody's ever had to deal with. So it's really important to analyze how people are behaving, and that's sort of our solution. We're making design tools that help you analyze and understand how people are physically behaving in virtual worlds. And that's something that no conventional analytics tool is solving, and it's pretty far solving a lot of different things that no analytics tool has done to date. But yeah, focused on that human behavior in virtual worlds. So you can better understand, did people notice the thing that I spent hours on adding details to? Did they interact with the things that we made interactive? Did they understand how to interact with an object that's interactive? Was it intuitive? Was it easily accessible? Were people that were tall more able to see all the things in the world, or were people that were small maybe not able to reach up to a certain point where we place a key? Or all of these different physically related design challenges is something that we're solving with Ghostline, and hope to enable developers of all VR types of content that utilize motion controls and precision tracked headsets will be able to utilize. And we hope to really help them do things more targeted in their efforts so that they spend less time and end up with a more polished product and content that feels more rich, where details are noticed, where interactive things are really interactive and satisfying to use.
Considering all of this, all of the above, where do you see VR going in the next 5 years or in the future?
We're definitely headed in the motion controller direction. What we're seeing in terms of content today that really is designed for motion controllers from the ground up is, we think that's delivering on the promise that Oculus originally made, and which they are they're coming out with Oculus Touch. That's where we see things going. And in terms of like mobile or whatever it is, position tracking and motion controllers for hands or just hand tracking in general, that's where this industry is going. And over the next 5 years, we're going to just see more and more of your physical input being taken into account. Your voice, your ears, better haptics, software that makes things more interactive, AI characters that really understand if you're showing like aggressive body postures or whether you're defensive. AI will play a huge role in making VR successful, and motion controls and everything that makes you feel more grounded in this reality is where I think we are going.
Going back to Waltz of the Wizard, how can people access it and on what platforms?
Sorry?
How can people access Waltz of the Wizard and on what platforms?
Yeah, it's currently available for free on Steam. And you can use it with HTC Vive. And when Oculus Touch controllers will debut, people will be able to use it with Oculus Touch. But yeah, right now you can access it on Steam. Just look up Waltz of the Wizard, and we'll look forward to hearing the feedback. We always listen to feedback online.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.